Hey, this is Gale Nelson, President and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters Miami, the host of The Game of Life, where everybody makes the team, but how you play is up to you. Welcome to The Game of Life. My name is Gale Nelson, host of the Game of Life Mentoring Podcast and President and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters. I do have a day job, by the way, you guys. I just do this for fun, but I'm pleased to have in the studio with me family. From Evensky and Katz, we have Katherine Sojo and David Evensky. Welcome to the Game of Life.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, Gale, thank you very much.
Oh, it's a pleasure having you all here, and what you do for us as a brand, as we seek to help children here in Miami-Dade County is thank you. It doesn't seem to be enough, but I will just say that this show was created, this podcast really began to help Big Brothers Big Sisters through this cool, innovative medium of a podcast to really highlight people that are getting it done, companies that are getting it done, firms and organizations, and individually and collectively, you all are truly a dynamic duo. And so let's just start by just letting our listening audience in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, all the mediums, Instagram, just know who you are as individuals, because that's at the end of the day, that's where it starts. So ladies first. And you got a big day coming up, by the way, as well.
I do. I'm
Soon
expecting my first baby.
That's
awesome. Exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so just Katherine, talk to us about just who you are, where you grew up, and how you got involved with the firm.
Absolutely. So I grew up in Miami, born and raised, and I'm a certified financial planner with Evensky and Katz. I've been there for 13 and a half years now. And funny enough, I actually started with them in high school.
Really?
Yes. And I started
3 years ago. 3 years ago.
3 years ago, yes. So I started during high school, and I would go after school just to file paperwork and scan in documents and label them and move them into files. Wow. And once I graduated high school, they offered me a full-time position, and I couldn't refuse it. It was fantastic. I needed it and I wanted it. So I took it, and I've been there since.
That is great.
And just evolved in my career, and it's been fantastic.
When you say that, I think about our littles.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think about one in particular little sister that was interning at a company in the Gables when in high school. She was mentored there in our school to work program, our workplace mentoring program, and now she's a full-time employee.
Exactly.
And so that says a lot rather about you. Your commitment and dedication says a lot about the firm as well.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, David, talk to us. Where'd you grow up and how'd you get involved?
I grew up here in the Miami Shores area of Miami.
Another native.
That's right. I've been here quite a long time. And I was very lucky. My father founded our firm back in 1986.
Wow.
So it's great to have him kind of mentor. He's still very involved in the firm. We're up to about 30 people now. We're in Coral Gables, and again, it's our 35th year, so we're really
Congratulations.
happy. Thank you. We're very happy to be part of the community, involved in the community, and we really love this community. So it's a nice for organizations like Big Brothers and Big Sisters to give us the opportunity to give back to the community.
Well, it's our absolute pleasure. And so, high school intern, now full-time employee, 13 and a half years later.
13 and a half years, yes.
Wow. And family. A dad who founded the company.
That's right.
And here we are today.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's really nice. I think we have the same kind of culture in the firm, a really kind of family kind of feeling.
Yes.
We have, I think, 13 shareholders now. We're growing robustly. It's very interesting. And what's nice about our firm is we're financial planners. And so really what we've seen over the very many years is our clients are very, very charitable. They're very much giving back to the community. And it's really what started us to kind of on our way is to see the great things that our clients like to do, the bequests, how they want to encourage their children to be involved, and some of the things they're being involved in. And so it's a natural that we kind of wanted to follow our clients' lead, and so we really promote getting involved with our community, especially Big Brothers and Big Sisters, which is such an amazing opportunity for people. Like you mentioned, someone that started interning, it gives them the opportunity to grow and then fill into that role. And so we're really pleased just to be a part of this organization.
And I do this from time to time, and they love it in the back because I drive them crazy. But I'm about to name this podcast because typically I give them this post-show or pre-show, and they're listening right now. So the name of this podcast will be, when it goes live to all the world, no pressure at all with the questions, is a legacy of leadership, a legacy of giving. That's what this is all about.
I love it.
And they just told me in the back, well, thank you very much. A legacy of leadership, a legacy of giving. Because in terms of family, in terms of mentoring, just a young adult.
Absolutely.
And now here you are, soon to be a mom. So, and it just continues. A legacy, something that's passed down from one generation to the other. So with that in mind, this is a mentoring podcast. And David, I'm going to start with you. Who mentored you? Now we know. I know people say, "Well, yeah, I have had a number of mentors." I get that, but I'm talking about just who comes to mind. I think I may know the answer to this one, but I'll still ask you the question: who mentored you, and what did he or she teach you?
Right. Well, again, not to go back on your kind of what you said. It certainly had a lot of people influence me, but
I
certainly
know that.
It would be my father, Harold, who's had a
Yes.
huge impact. Obviously, I followed him into the family business. But we were one of the first. Very proud of what we've kind of accomplished in the community, and and the kind of national financial planning in our country. Broadly, we were one of the first firms to really push fee-based planning, fiduciary planning. Back in the 80s and the early 90s, and that's something that really I think is an amazing accomplishment. We've always kind of stood up for the individual investor. We're sort of contrarians to Wall Street. And we really were kind of one of the leaders, and he was certainly one of the leaders. He was head of the Certified Financial Planning Board, brought that designation to a lot of popularity. He was on the international board, and of course brought that to multiple countries, and now adopted the designation of Certified Financial Planner. It's really sitting on the same side of the client as your same side of the table, pardon me, as your client. And we think it's really the right way to do business.
Sure.
In investments. So he's been a huge influence in my life. He sent me to train on someone else's dime. So I worked for a couple different companies until I joined when I was about 31 years old. That's almost 19 years now I've been with the firm. And so he's really one of the most honest, passionate, caring people that I know. And so I was really lucky to have him active and to be a mentor of mine.
And having had the pleasure of meeting him in person is special. Caring, and the apple does not fall far from the tree, and it's a legacy of giving. So a shout out to your dad, who has done an incredible job in mentoring you.
I'm very lucky. Great, thanks, Gale.
No doubt about it. And as a dad, it's pretty cool for me as well. It's seeing my kids grow up, and that's part of it. And you want to plant that seed and hope that as they get older, and that they can just not only meet but exceed what we've been able to do, as well. So Katherine, soon to be mom. I'll keep saying that. That's got a nice. Every time I say it, you
has
smile.
a nice ring to it. Yes.
It does.
Who mentored you, and what did he or she teach you?
So, it's a great question, but again, there are many people that have influenced my life. But first person that comes top mind is my mom.
Yes.
And she's just a pillar of strength, and she's shown me so much. She's taught me how to be resilient, how to be responsible. She's taught me how to be respectful, and I feel that all the things that she's taught me, I've been able to bring with me to my career, and those things have helped me become successful and helped me become the person that I am today. So she's absolutely the first person that I think of.
And when you think about life lessons, what's one life lesson specifically that your mom that just she told you or just made you aware of that stands out, that sticks with you today?
One life lesson would be to never give up.
Yes.
My mom has been through a ton of adversity, and I have seen her overcome so much, and that to me has been so inspiring. So I would say that she never gave up, and that's something that she's taught me.
And as I said to David, I'll say to you, Katherine, she's done a great job, a great job,
you.
And I'm sure that
Indeed.
some of the same things that your mom taught you.
Oh, absolutely.
You know where I'm going.
Yes, I know where.
See, again, a
Absolutely.
legacy of leadership,
Yes.
a legacy of giving.
Yes.
And speaking of a legacy of giving, Big Brothers Big Sisters of Miami was established in 1958. So 61 years of giving back to this community, over 65,000 children being served just through one-to-one mentoring relationships. And now you add to that the bigs, the volunteers, the mentors. You add to that the families that we've impacted as well. Yeah. And we're a solid brand, but we don't charge the bigs, the littles, or the parents a dime. And that is why having partners like Evensky and Katz, and having leaders like the two of you, it's so important for not only our survival, but our long-term stability as well. So when did you get involved, David, with Big Brothers Big Sisters?
Yeah, and again, congratulations. The imprint that you guys have had on this community is just unmeasurable, and it's amazing the things that you do. And again, we appreciate letting us be a very small part of the successes that you're bringing to the youngs and the kids in this community. It was interesting. We were teamed up in the past with University of Miami, where they introduced me to Big Brothers and Big Sisters locally. We were doing a program down there called Motivated Youth, where we helped get a bunch of high school kids together, and we had a couple, maybe half a dozen to a dozen charities, depending on the year, come down. And we'd make the kids make some tough decisions. We gave them kind of funny money, maybe a couple $100 each.
Right.
Maybe 100, a couple tens, a 20 here, 50 there, some fives. And we had the kids go up and have to have the person from Big Brothers or the other non-for-profits talk to the kids about the program. They would get up on stage and then make a skit or a presentation of why it was important to the other children to allocate some of their dollars to that particular charity. And so we did that with University of Miami for a number of years, and it's where I got introduced to the program and really have been in love with it, because you guys are really where the rubber hits the road. And so it's a very important organization to support here in Miami.
That's great. And Katherine, when did you get involved?
So I would say about 2 years ago, actually, the firm gave me such a great opportunity to give back to an organization of my choice, and I found Big Brother, Big Sister. And I went to one of the incredible events hosted by the Miracle Society.
Yes.
And I remember listening to the match, and there was a little and her big were there, and I remember just being able to relate to that situation so much, and how much it spoke to me that I was hooked since then. So ever since, it's been about this organization.
Well, I tell you what, and I'm happy to share that Big Brothers Big Sisters of Miami received a Gold Standard Award nationally from our national office, one of 5 affiliates nationwide. And also, we have the Big Brother of the Year, Hugo Mantilla, as well. He's in the financial planning business as well, so certainly you all will get a chance to meet him. I'll have him on the podcast in the future for sure. And his little brother, Louis, and his little brother saw him, and just as an example, the power of the match presentation. And he said, I saw how he lived and how he went to work, and he worked hard. And there's a picture of the little boy, little Louis, in his suit, and a picture of Hugo in identical suits as well. And he was just a little guy. But now Louis just graduated from high school. He's 21 now, and he's now in college studying finance.
That's fantastic.
And so the impact that individuals make. So you got involved as a result of hearing the impact of a match presentation.
Absolutely. And I saw the potential that these bigs bring out of the littles, and I think that's so important to highlight, because these littles have so much in them. They're resilient, they're strong, they can accomplish so much, and they just need someone to guide them.
And
I think that's
right.
what they do.
And that's your story.
That's exactly my story.
That's your story. You mentioned Miracle Society. And so who will be heading Miracle Society as we move forward? I'm going to throw some hard questions now, David. Who will be leading the Miracle Society? And for those, go ahead.
That would be me.
Excellent.
With a mentor chair, Carol.
Very
as well,
good.
Carol Reinsma, she's fantastic. So it'll be the two of us. And
absolutely.
We look forward to the challenge.
And I think with that, for those that are listening, we have various giving societies. And I would be remiss if I did not just let folks that are listening know that whether it's our website, bbbsmiami.org, or 305-644-0066, our phone number, to join a Miracle Society, it's sponsoring 3 matches, 3 relationships that can change a kid's life forever, and really just ignite that power and potential and promise that are in these youth, as Katherine said. And Miracle Society is $5,000 pledge over 3 years, 3 matches. Or if you want to do more than that, call us. We'll talk about it, and we can customize a plan to fit anybody. So having David here and Katherine here talking about Big Brothers Big Sisters and the impact you all are having. Why Big Brothers Big Sisters, David? You mentioned, it's where the rubber meets the road. True. But there's a lot of nonprofits, and certainly there's a lot of folks doing great work. We don't believe in competition. It's all about collaboration. Mm-hmm. But certainly donors have a choice. So why Big Brothers Big Sisters?
A great question, and I think a pretty easy one to answer is, the reality is, like Katherine mentioned before, children have so much potential.
Yes.
Every child is born equal, but maybe not with the same opportunities in life. And let's just talk in a business sense. I mean, if you talk about not only is it important to pass on the knowledge and experience that somebody has to help really bud that potential into a beautiful human being, but think of it also on a business side of it. The more we can adopt and help kids from pre-K early learning to really giving kids a chance at that potential, you're stopping all sorts of recidivism, problems that could affect the community later on. And just as a business person, I think that most corporations and firms need to hear this, is you're investing where it matters the most. If you wait until a long time in the future when you might have some social problems or others, the time to invest early and small and efficiently is past. And so I think that especially I want to talk to the business community. It's very important for corporations. We're a small firm, a very small firm. It's a very important even for the smaller law firms, the smaller corporations, the smaller businesses to get involved, because what you're doing for our community is you're investing early in our most valuable, important asset, which is our children. And to do that just on the business sense, you're really investing in something that has a much bigger payout. And so that's why we're really attracted to children's charities, and especially Big Brothers in particular, because just of the great work you do, the impact, the amount of children that you mentioned before. I mean, that's a really great way to see the investment on your time, on your energy, on the important donations. Because listen, let's talk frankly, the programmatic efforts are there, what you do is fantastic, but the donations and the monies that are sent to do these programs are really the oil, the gas that make the engines run.
That's right.
And so that's why it's very important to go ahead and have it properly funded, and being able to be properly funded, we can really change the community we live in.
That's beautiful. So the cost of doing nothing is just far too high.
Exactly right. Yep.
Wow. Spoken like a true financial guy. The yield on your investment is very positive.
Yep.
Incredible. Katherine, you are our newest board member. No pressure. You did know that, right?
Yes,
Okay, I just
knew.
want to make sure, David, I'm throwing the
aware.
tough questions at Katherine. And so with the backing of an incredible firm, rooted and grounded in family and giving back, as our newest board member, obviously with oversight of Miracle Society, teaming up with Carol Rhinesman, your mentor chair, what do you seek to gain from this board member experience? And what value add are you bringing to the table?
Sure, it's a great question. I think as far as value add, I'm a person that thrives on checking things off a to-do list. I like getting things done.
Awesome.
And I plan on bringing productive and innovative ideas to the table, but not just ideas. I plan on bringing them with an execution plan. How do we actually do this? Because having ideas is great, it's brilliant, but having a roadmap to bring those ideas to life is actually what makes the organization grow and makes it better. And everything can always be better, right? It's perfect now, but we can make it better. And I think that's really where I would love to focus, and that's really where I think my value is when it comes to the board. And as far as what I'm looking to gain, I'm looking to meet like-minded individuals. I'm looking to get our firm's name out there in the community, more so than what it already is, and my name too, right? I need to make a name for myself as well.
Right.
So that's what I'm looking to gain, but it's more about what can I do to help progress with the organization? What can I do to help the organization grow and make sure that these kids are getting what they need to bring out their potential?
That's awesome. And so the last question I have for both of you is, there's folks listening, again, throughout all the social media mediums, this podcast is being broadcast. And having folks like you sitting in these seats to tell where you came from, how you grew up, how you were mentored, what you were doing, and why you get involved with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, that's why this podcast exists. But for those out there listening, that business owner, that business person, whoever he or she may be, that's thinking about getting involved in a board, thinking about getting involved as a donor, maybe even as a volunteer. What's your message to them? Katherine, we'll start with you. What's your message to them?
So my message is make sure that the nonprofit speaks to your core as a person, that it actually means something to you, so that way what you bring to the table is energetic, it's passionate, it's strong, and it's a willingness to help. And I don't think if the organization doesn't speak to you, then you're not really connecting the way that you need to be productive and actually do some good for the organization. So I believe just making sure it speaks to your core, also just having the willingness to roll up your sleeves and get some work done. Put in the work, put in the hard work, and it's great to have donations. We need them, but you also need people to do the work. And that's what I think should be the expectation of people that volunteer and join the boards and try to get involved. Well
stated. David?
Yeah, well, I think Katherine really nailed it. I mean, you have to have a love of that particular non-for-profit or that passion for the organization. So I think you really articulated that appropriately. The only thing that I would also add is that people might go out there and say, oh, they've been around for a long time. There are plenty of people helping them. It's simply not true.
That's
people
right.
Don't worry. If you need to step up as an individual, if you can convince your corporation or your firm to do so as well, but it's not going to happen without you. People have to realize this is a big city. You only have so many people doing something. So one individual just stepping forward is sometimes the most important decision a person will actually make. And so don't think that everyone's going to happen. It's going to happen without you. Be a part of it because it really needs to happen with you, and I think that you'll understand that you'll receive something so rewarding, on a personal level as well, that it's worth your time and your effort and your thought. But don't think people are just going to do it or volunteer or help it and get it done. You need to understand that as a person in the community, you better step up, because it might not get done, and these kids could fall through the crack.
And it's never enough.
It's not enough.
It's never enough.
That's right.
Yeah, we need help.
So,
people on your waiting list, Gale, is my understanding.
Right.
That is correct.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So every person listening to this can understand that they, as an individual, can make a huge impact just by giving of their own time.
Is it safe to say that this fiscal year that just began July 1 for us, that we will have maybe a few evenings of impact? Because you remind me, because David, I tell you, when we sit down, when you're there with the microphone, bringing that same passion, saying, "Hey, it's not enough. We need the support." Is it safe to say we'll team up for some evenings of inspiration at some point this year? Is that a safe assumption?
Absolutely.
It's a promise.
It's a promise. We are committed to it.
This is being recorded. This is being broadcast.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
Stay tuned. You will hear, to our listening audience in all of Miami, we'll have invitations going out, and you talk about some wonderful, cool events where we have a match presentation to talk about and speak to the impact of what we do. But thank you in advance for having some cool events, but also looking to do some more with us as well.
Yeah, it's an honor to be able to do that, and I think that people need to think out of the box, get your friends together, have what we call a friend raiser.
Yes.
Try to tell people the message. Talk about the impact that we're having, and we're really looking forward to this one this year too. I think it's our third year in a row. So
third year in a row.
We're excited.
Yes, indeed. Well, Katherine, David, thank you for being on the Game of Life podcast. You made my job very easy. I could just sit back, put it in cruise control, and enjoy the ride. So again, in the Game of Life, everybody makes a team, but how you play is up to you. Katherine, David, thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, Gale. Greatly appreciate it.
And I tell you what, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Another awesome mom.
I look forward to it.
You got it. Game of Life.
Thanks,
Let's go. This is the Game of Life.